And good morning, everybody. Welcome, Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Bruce, how are you this morning?
I am well, Eric. I trust you are too.
Doing very well.
Good.
You know the phrase any given Sunday. How about any given Thursday, in which it just seems like no one wants to take a stranglehold of the AFC?
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers were one of the two teams in the AFC starting the day yesterday or last night with actually a better record than the Denver Broncos. And we know how, look, let's just take the Broncos. The Broncos are 4-2 right now, but have been wholly inconsistent everywhere except on defense. And even in defense, in a couple of moments, they've had some interesting times. But this is definitely the identity of this team is their defense. But we are left with really looking around the AFC right now. Only the Colts have a better record than the Broncos. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't teams that are better than the Broncos, but that's the only team that has a better record than the Bronco. And I think that we can all agree that the Broncos should have beaten them.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they should have beaten them. Now, look, I'm not going to give them the should have beaten Chargers. The Chargers made plays down the stretch when they had to, and they took that game from the Broncos. Broncos gave the game to the Indianapolis Colts. But anyway, it's just my way of saying there is no, as of right now, 6 weeks in, starting week 7 now, there is no really clear team to beat in the AFC. Maybe the Chiefs emerge as that team, but maybe it's someone else. Maybe it is the Broncos, who play 4 of the next 5 games at home and are more than likely in those 5 games to be favorites in 4 of them. Maybe a toss-up in the game down in Houston. But they have a tremendous opportunity if they can take care of their business and continue to evolve.
You ever see the movie The Curious Case of Benjamin Button?
I did.
Okay. Well, they should do a remake. The Curious Case of Joe Flacco. The older he gets, the better he gets.
Yeah, he was good last night.
I mean, it's really unbelievable what this guy is doing at his age. Now, we've seen older quarterbacks do well, but to me, he is starting to resemble more and more Rich Gannon, who had a nice career, but just seemed to get better as he got older. Joe Flacco should never go into the Hall of Fame unless he gets a ticket. He had one phenomenal season, regular season-wise. He was a good to very good quarterback, and that was it. But to see what he is doing is nothing short of remarkable. It is unfortunate he could not do that here. In Denver, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even close here in Denver. And how interesting that you bring up Rich Gannon. Something in the water in Delaware, 2 quarterbacks from Delaware.
Right.
That had great long careers and arguably had their best points of their careers late in their careers. Now, Flacco didn't. I mean, Flacco was a pretty damn good quarterback. I mean,
he was?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty good quarterback.
Pretty damn good quarterback. A guy whose quarterback rating probably is maybe for his career is 85.
He had a great season. He had a great championship run.
Yes, he did.
In fact, he's kind of the quarterback. He's kind of the quarterback reflection of the Broncos defense in 2015. It's the run that he made to the Super Bowl and the teams that he beat in winning the Super Bowl. Right. And for the Broncos, people tend to think that was just a lockdown defense all season long, but that team gave up some points early on in the season. It was a team that it was a defense that got great at the most important time. Right. Flacco has that too. Flacco was great at the most important time.
I stand corrected. I was wrong. His quarterback rating was not or is not 85 for his career. So my apologies.
What is it?
84. His career completion percentage is 61.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a good quarterback, not a great quarterback.
Right.
Here's some touchdown to interception ratios for this guy starting in his second season.
Right.
21-12, 25-10, 20-10, 22-10, 19-22, 27-12, 14-12. Getting the picture here?
Yeah.
He was a good quarterback, was hardly a great quarterback. He played for a great franchise that always seemed to have a great defense.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's funny because if you put his numbers side by side regular season with Eli Manning, they'd probably be pretty close, maybe with the exception of, touchdown to interception ratio.
Yeah. And of course, if we're talking historically, Eli's got 2 Super Bowls.
Right. And Joe Flacco has 1.
Right.
And there are plenty of guys who never won a Super Bowl who were far better. Right?
Yeah.
Jim Kelly, Dan Marino.
I think Phillip Rivers.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers was a great quarterback.
You're not going to go hellacious? You love that phrase. He was hellacious.
I do, but I mean, I just thought that I just didn't want to go too far off the edge on Phillip Rivers, but I loved him as a quarterback.
Yeah.
I love the dadgummit and the,
right.
Jim and Nentley and never swearing, but still talking trash. And I mean, some of Von Miller's stories about the back and forth with Phillip Rivers are absolutely hilarious, and the way that they got after one another in all those years that they played against each other as rivals in the AFC West. But I really liked Phillip Rivers as a quarterback. I thought he was outstanding.
That's funny. I'm looking something up just for fun. Phillip Rivers has as many children as he does playoff wins.
Yeah.
5 and 5.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, unfortunately, Justin Herbert, to this point in his career, has kind of followed a similar path. I mean, I know you like Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I like him. I don't love him.
I mean, I think he is, I think especially if you give him a running game, I think he's a really good quarterback, but it has not equated into the postseason. And even their most recent postseason fiasco still is the game 2 years ago against Jacksonville, where they led by 3 scores or something or other, and Jacksonville came back to beat them in the second half. I mean, those are the types of things you think about when you think about a Justin Herbert, even though he has been a tremendous regular season quarterback.
All due respect to Bo Nix, the best quarterback to ever come out of the University of Oregon, not Justin Herbert, Dan Fouts.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, Dan Fouts didn't win a lot of playoff games either. He is in the Hall of Fame, but we don't need to sit and spend the show talking about Oregon quarterbacks, do we?
Well, they've had some good ones, but,
Probably not.
No, we're good.
Probably not. In the meantime, I want to tell you about Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos. They always have great promotions coming up quickly. They're giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings. Every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight, players can earn daily entries with locked up jackpots or by redeeming players' points with their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, a family-owned casino that treats you like family. I've been up there too many times to count. When you walk in, go to the far right corner. That, to me, is my lucky spot. I got a locked up jackpot there just recently. Time now for the lead.
The lead is presented by Sasquatch Casino, a family-owned casino that treats you like family.
A lot of time talking about this. The Giants are going to be incredibly well rested heading into Denver on Sunday. They played a week ago yesterday and throttled the Eagles. 10-day break. That's what they're going on as they head into Sunday's game. Broncos, in the meantime, just got back from London. Big advantage, slight advantage, not an advantage at all.
I don't know if it's a big advantage, but it's an advantage. There's no question about it, especially playing at home a week ago yesterday. I mean, that's always nice. And knowing the difficulty of coming back from international travel, today's about the day. Yesterday was actually about the day that you start getting back to normal. They traveled Sunday night. So by Thursday, you should start to feel good. And in talking with guys over the last couple of days, you get the feeling that yesterday was kind of their day that they got back to normal a little bit. Practice was good. It was energetic. Guys moving around. All of the things that you're looking for as you try to get back to some degree of normalcy, which is kind of hard to do after the 3 weeks that they've had. Let's face it. I mean, when you're traveling close to 11,000 miles over the course of, 8 or 9 days and all of the things that go with it, that's a challenge. So, yeah, it's an advantage for the Giants, I think. But I think the Broncos are a better football team.
One thing that fans hold on to and absolutely love is circular logic. So if the Eagles lost to both the Giants and the Broncos, but the Broncos had to win the game in the fourth quarter, and the Giants dominated the second half to the tune of a 34-17 win, is there any correlation between the two games?
No, absolutely no correlation between the two games, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, let's here. I'll give you. It's not circular, but I'll give you some logic, and you can chew on it if you want.
It's logic. I can't tell you if it's circular.
It might be square logic. I don't know, but I mean, what about Philadelphia all of a sudden traveling on a short week after physically being dominated in the fourth quarter of a game that they were in control of? What are the lasting effects of that domino falling? I mean, do you give the Broncos some credit for making Philadelphia beatable 5 days later on the road in New York? I mean, there are all kinds of questions that you can ask. The great thing is the Giants have to come to Empower Field at Mile High on Sunday on an absolutely beautiful day, 75 degrees on the natural grass. And they're going to have to play a football team that defensively is playing at an incredibly high level in a very hostile environment that that is a very difficult place to play. So, you know what? They're a 2-4 football team that's 2-1 over the last 3 games. The Jaxson Dart has taken over at quarterback. I give credit where it's due, but there's still a fair amount of proving to me that both the Giants and the Broncos need to do. The difference is the Broncos are 4-2 and in contention in the AFC.
All right, want to get back into something that Jonathon Cooper said a couple of days ago. He was talking about Jaxson Dart and how he's a young kid and, he's a little flamboyant and, he wears a chain and so on and so forth. But I want to get a little bit more specific, not so much about Jaxson Dart as the person and how he appears on the field, which he's a cocky kid. Good for him.
Yeah.
But this is more specific about him as a player. Cooper said this about Dart running the ball. We've went against quarterbacks who have run around in the pocket, who have tried to do stuff with their legs. So ain't nothing we haven't seen. I'm thinking out of New York, that is bulletin board material. And in some ways you can make the case it is. So now that Coop has said this stuff, does it add a little bit more intrigue to the game for you? Where now the Broncos defense, specifically Coop, and who is a leader, by the way,
question, right,
is saying, yeah, I don't know if Coop is really coming out and saying, wait till he gets a load of us, but it kind of sounds that way.
It does sound that way, and we talked about this earlier this week. There is a developing swagger, a developing personality in this defense that is evolving. We're seeing it week to week now. And I think that there is a little more willingness to kind of go with the message of, okay, you've done that, but now do that here and do that against us. Let's see how it goes. Now, and do you put more pressure on your unit when you do that. I guess to a degree, everything evens out when you start popping one another on a Sunday afternoon, and those kind of things go by the wayside. But I do think that there is a stated goal to basically, okay, this is a cute story, but now it ends. It ends here. Bring your however you want to describe it, your frat boy, energy with all of your young players. Bring it in here and let's see how it plays. You never know. You might be tipping your helmet to them at the end of the day. The Giants are a little bit of a wild card, aren't they? Because they've got young players that have given them a lot of juice. And there's no question these guys can play a little bit, but can they play against this defense in this situation? It will be their toughest test.
I think sometimes when you look at matchups, you get so excited about it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll give you an example. Yeah. And when I say excited, let's look at the 2013 Super Bowl. Broncos offense, historic offense against the Seahawks historic defense. Yeah. Going into the game, quite frankly, I didn't care if the Broncos defense was on the field or the Seahawks offense. I just wanted to see that. Yeah. 60 minutes of that would have been more than fine with me until the opening snap. And then I was far more eager to see the Seahawks offense against the Broncos defense, because we knew the way that game was going to go pretty much right off the hop.
Yeah.
For this particular game, Broncos offense and the Giants defense doesn't even need to walk into the stadium. I just want to watch this Broncos defense against Skattebo and Dart.
There's I was thinking about this yesterday. You know better than anyone because you've worked in Chicago and you've worked nationally. Hype is an interesting thing. And the Giants right now are living on, look, there's some demonstrated ability. You don't go beat the Eagles. And I'm not, you don't take anything away from that at all. You give them their credit. But they're living on some New York hype right now. And they've got to kind of live up to that hype. And you know how the hype gets in a place like New York. When you start making guys legendary, and Jaxson Dart's got a little bit of that now in the New York press. Skattebo is a local and growing national figure now.
He's a folk hero.
Yeah, folk hero. Well said. Thank you. And there's a little bit of that going on right now, and that is perpetuated by the energy and the momentum of the strongest press corps in anywhere. It's New York. That's how the media works there. They build their heroes, then they tear them down.
Everybody does that.
Everybody does, but it's the most severe in New York simply because of the magnitude of the stage and the amount of attention that they all get.
At the risk of not letting you finish your point, which I didn't.
That's all right.
You said that New York is a really tough media market.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the toughest media market is in North America?
I think Philadelphia is pretty tough.
Remember, I said North America.
Oh, in North America.
In North America.
I don't know. What do you think?
I would not want to play hockey in Montreal.
No.
Let me rephrase that. I would not want to be a bad hockey player in Montreal. If you're a great hockey player, you're set.
Yeah.
If you're bad.
That's a great call. Yeah.
The media will be at your doorstep asking you questions and knocking on your door at 2 a.m. on why you blow.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, I would give you that one. I absolutely would.
But getting back.
The only difference is New York is New York and Montreal is Montreal from a standpoint of people affected and the millions and millions, tens of millions of people. Be that as it may, I'm not so sure that some of where the Giants are coming from hasn't been inflated a little bit by New York media, who love, rightfully so, a good building story like this. Russell Wilson sits down. Jaxson Dart takes over. The cocky kid with the one smudge of lamp black under his eye, which supposedly is a homage to Anakin Skywalker. I don't know what that means.
He didn't wear Anakin Skywalker, I'm positive, did not wear eye black.
I don't know, but I read
when
that.
he was in the Mustafar system, okay, waiting for Obi-Wan Kenobi to come out. I don't think he's going, okay, time to prep.
Put the lamp.
Okay, Obi-Wan, what you got?
Well, I mean, I don't know. This is all I read. So I think that and he's a good-looking kid and a good-looking football player. And he's given him some results. They're, like I said, they're 2-1 under him. But I'm not so sure that some of that isn't inflated a little bit just by the largesse of the New York media.
I agree with you. That thing, something that is a 7 across the country is an 8 in New York.
Right, agree.
And yes, Jaxson Dart is now everybody's darling, but I don't care where Cam Skattebo plays. When you have a white running back, which is rare, doing backflips after touchdowns, he's going to get attention anywhere.
Yeah. By the way, he's probably second in line to Tez Johnson, who does the most unbelievable backflips and rolling things after his touchdowns. And
yeah.
Did you hear the story? Now, Tez Johnson, for those of you that don't know, is Bo Nix's brother. I mean, they are literally brothers. And
they're brothers from another mother.
Yes, absolutely. But so anyway, they're doing the MVP chant after he makes the catch late in the game from Baker Mayfield, and Tampa closes out the game and wins. And Tez Johnson afterwards and he said, "Damn, man," he said, I thought that might be a little too much, maybe the MVP chant." And the guy standing next to him, I can't remember who it was, says, "Dude, that was for Baker Mayfield." So I got to, goodness. He had mistaken the chants on the catch for MVP when it was actually the guy who threw it. But having said that, his celebration flips that he does all along the back of the are something that you need to probably go check out. The guy is quite remarkable for 158-pound kind of wide receiver, flanker, slot guy in the NFL. Pretty amazing. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, if there was a sequel to White Men Can't Jump, they would call it White Men Can't Flip, starring Cam Skattebo. Coming up after the break, the Broncos Super Bowl team is going to be honored on Sunday, but just as importantly, and probably far more emotionally, Demaryius Thomas will be going into the Broncos Ring of Fame. What are your memories of Demaryius Thomas, and where does he rank amongst the greats in Broncos history? That's next. Everyone has their favorite barbecue spot. Mine, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew. My favorites, slowly smoked ribs, smoked corned beef Reuben, smoked meatloaf with a portobello balsamic cream sauce. And don't forget about Smokin' Dave's 16-hour smoked brisket and pork with one of their 4 homemade barbecue sauces. Great sides, you bet. Barbecue beans made with pork and brisket and their southern corn bake. Man, you got to try it. Plus, they have amazing non-barbecue entrees on the menu. Go where I go, Smokin' Dave's Barbecue and Brew in North Denver.
Ferguson's Heating and Cooling is the best in Denver, and their customers agree. Ferguson's has 165 5-star Google reviews, and here's one from Betsy. Highly professional, prompt, and honest. I switched to Ferguson's when I became aware my former company was trying to sell me a whole new system I didn't need. Ferguson's is an honest, working, family-owned business that'll give you a fair price, the highest quality parts and equipment, and they always show up on time. You can trust the Ferguson family like you trust your own family. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Everyone has their favorite sports bar. Mine, the Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. All their locations are everything a sports bar should be. An upscale menu with 12 different burgers, outstanding wings, and my favorite, the Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. They've got every game on the NFL Sunday Ticket, MLB Extra Innings, NHL Center Ice, NBA League Pass, plus soccer, rugby, and UFC. Sportsbook, great hangout bar, great for private parties. The Sportsbook Bar and Grill in Highlands Ranch, DTC, and now in Parker. They are the sports bar.
Ever wondered where city and county fleet vehicles go when they retire? Now's your chance to find out and score big. Imagine driving away with a great deal on a reliable vehicle. For over 45 years, Roller Auction has been the trusted source for government fleet vehicles and equipment. Trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, all selling to the highest bidder. Don't miss out. Visit roller.bid/hot takes to get auction updates today. Your next vehicle could be just a click away.
Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk have another incredible promotion. They'll be giving away a Ford Maverick Tremor truck or over $25,000 in cash the weekend of October 24th. Daily cash drawings are every 45 minutes between 10 a.m. and midnight. Players can earn daily entries with every locked-up jackpot or by redeeming players' points on their players' cards. Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos, loose slots, phenomenal promotions, great food, and a family-owned casino that treats you like family. Here's another great promotion from Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos in Blackhawk. On December 13th, it's their annual holiday auction for a pair of Super Bowl tickets, tools, jewelry, electronics, toys, and kitchen appliances. Earn auction currency with every locked-up jackpot, players' points, or a daily cash drawing. There's so many ways to earn currency, and the more you play, the more you'll be able to bid and win what you want at their auction. So get up to Sasquatch and Wildcard Casinos and start stacking your auction currency today.
Welcome back. Hot Takes Goodman and Haertl. Want to tell you about Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. I was in Chicago on Wednesday morning, and Mandy calls me and said, we don't have any hot water.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to take a nice warm shower at my dad's house. Best of luck to you. I said, call Cody and Dawn at Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. She does, and they were out there hours later looking at the hot water heater. I've told you many times, and I told this to Mandy on the phone, they will not sell us something that we do not need. And so Moose looked at it and said, you have a rip on the inner lining. Our hot water heater was over 8 years old. Usually a hot water heater goes about 10 years.
Yep.
So we got a new hot water heater, got a great price, and the hot water heater was installed less than 24 hours after that.
Wow.
That is unbelievable service. Cannot thank Ferguson's Heating and Cooling enough. And I can promise you that's the experience you will have as well. Go to fergusonsheatingandcooling.com. Time now for What's Trending.
What's Trending is presented by Ferguson's Heating and Cooling. Your family should trust the Ferguson family for all your heating and cooling needs, and you'll see why they have over 165 five-star Google reviews. Make an appointment today at fergusonsheatingandcooling.com.
Demaryius Thomas is going to go into the Broncos Ring of Fame on Sunday, and he'll be doing it posthumously, looking from above at his teammates who won the 2015 Super Bowl. They will be honored as well. And it is my understanding it is going to be a record number of alumni at that game, clearly when the whole team is pretty much invited from 2015. It's going to be a big crowd, but I think there will be more alumni there simply just to honor the late, great Demaryius Thomas. You covered Demaryius Thomas for more than a few years here in Denver. What are your memories of him?
You know, just a very gracious guy. Everyone talks about his smile, and his smile was one of those things that always warmed you because it was never far away. It was, you know, you always felt like DT was never having a bad day. And that was always something refreshing. But for someone that came in 10 years ago, towards now, on the backside of his productive time as a Denver Bronco, he is the one player in all of that time. Garrett Bowles has done it with me too, to a degree, that actually turns things around on you. We have our relationships where we ask the questions, they give us the answers, right? When you're in a locker room. But with DT, he would turn around and ask questions too. So he was with me very early on. Where are you from? And what's your experience? And, you ask interesting questions, and he took an interest in me. And that's not something that pro athletes generally do. And this isn't a knock against pro athletes, but everybody is asking them questions. And he took an interest in me as a new reporter on the beat, a very small one, but enough to make a difference to me that I felt like he was interested in just more than his own little piece of the rock with this team and in the locker room. He took an interest in people. And then when you see the work that he did in the community and, with, Big Brothers and Big Sister and all of those things, he just was a jewel of a guy. Quiet, he wasn't demonstrative, but when he spoke, you listened, and he always had good things to say. I really felt it when he went, and he was obviously no longer, a member of the Broncos team, but Demaryius Thomas will always be a Denver Bronco. So anyway, it'll be happy and sad all at the same time on Sunday.
I used to use this term about him all the time when he played, and it's not a term that you want as a football player. He was a very sweet man.
Yeah.
Nice and kind and gentle. And when you think about his upbringing, in which his mother and his grandmother went to prison, okay, you would think someone like that would be like, how is this guy going to turn out?
Yeah.
Humble, nice. This reference because of our age. He was an E.F. Hutton commercial.
Sure.
When Demaryius talks, people listen. And he didn't talk a lot. But I was told by a number of his teammates that he was a great leader, despite the fact he never talked that much. But when he did, people absolutely listened.
Yeah.
John Lynch, nice guy, right? Steve Atwater, nice guy. But when they went onto the field, they were different players. If Steve Atwater was the silent assassin on defense, Demaryius Thomas was the silent assassin on offense. And the story that I've told many times, and I'm guessing you've heard it, that just absolutely chilled me was in 2015, he was dropping some passes and the crowd was getting on him. And he and I always had a really nice relationship. And I pulled him aside outside the locker room, and you will know what I'm talking about, Bruce, where the cooler is for all drinks. We were outside the locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, Demaryius, what is going on with the drops? Why do you think you are dropping the ball as much as you are, considering you're a pretty sure-handed wide receiver? And he said to me, I can't get it out of my mind that my mother is watching me as a free woman. And I'm thinking, who in the world could honestly relate to that? But it was his honesty, and with the way that he said it, in a very disarming way, not making excuses. I'm thinking, wow, this guy is really introspective. I never talked about that story when he played for the Broncos. When he retired, I talked about that story at times. And if he was alive today, I hope he would never get upset with me for telling that story. But to me, it told me a lot about the man, how he felt about his family, who he was as a person.
Yeah.
Just a wonderful human being. And honestly, you can't really say that about everybody. Not everybody is a wonderful human being. He was that.
He had a much broader view of life because of the challenges that he faced in his life. And a lot of times you can go one of two directions when you have those kinds of challenges. And people wouldn't, I mean, people would understand it. The fact that he molded himself into a person that had a greater sense of himself and the people around him, and the challenges that he had growing up, and the way that he turned out growing up, he had good direction somewhere along the line. But probably the best direction that he had was his own moral compass. And based on my understanding, it was always a pretty good compass to follow from his time going through high school, into Georgia Tech, and then into the National Football League. He always seemed to be a great citizen, a great teammate, and someone that was very well respected and very well liked. You don't always get that combination either, right? You can have guys that are respected, but maybe they're not liked as much, or maybe they're really liked, but maybe you don't respect quite, their work ethic or something, things of that nature. It's not always an automatic combination, but he had that, and he had that despite all of the challenges that he had growing up. I mean, think about those challenges. When the people that are the most influential people in your life are incarcerated, for God's sakes. And he did do a good job talking about it, when that finally was resolved. I mean, I can't imagine that would be a fun thing to talk about with people, but when he was asked and to talk about it, he would, and he's just a great guy. You always felt better for having known someone like Demaryius Thomas.
I want to go back to the 2010 draft. At that time, you were covering the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yep.
I can't remember who the Chiefs took in the draft. But when the Broncos made their selection, I'm guessing there was some head scratching going on. What's up?
Sure.
I'm guessing there was some head scratching going on in Kansas City, feeling we just dodged a bullet. They took Demaryius Thomas, a wide receiver from Georgia Tech, in a run-first offense. Now, granted, Calvin Johnson came from Georgia Tech as well.
Yep.
So, with that, you probably thought in Kansas City, we just dodged a bullet. Now we don't have to face Dez Bryant twice a year. We'll take our chances with Demaryius Thomas. And I remember right when the Broncos made that pick, I was sitting in the hall where the Broncos were doing their draft, and I walked outside and I called our mutual friend Nick Ferguson, who went to Georgia Tech.
Right.
And I said, tell me about Demaryius Thomas. And he said, this guy is a flat-out baller. He goes, speed, size, everything that you want in a wide receiver. And that endorsement right there put me on board with Demaryius Thomas before he even put on his uniform. Let's look at Demaryius Thomas historically. Once you go in the Ring of Fame, you are considered one of the greatest Broncos of all time. With that, put in order your top 4 or 5 pass catchers. Notice I said pass catchers because Shannon Sharpe is going to be included.
Yeah, no question.
Where would you put Demaryius on that list? Well, let's start with who's number one.
Rod Smith is in a league of his own, and this is my opinion. And I was never around for Rod Smith. Knew of him. Obviously, knew of his roots. Loved his story. Missouri Southern, the whole 9 yards. But you're talking about that was a guy who was just a badass receiver. He was great doing and so was DT. Actually, DT had some good badassery about him as well. But I remember Rod Smith as he caught the ball.
Let me sum this up for you.
Yeah.
He was dependable. He was a leader. He worked harder than everybody else.
Yeah.
And he had a fuck you. I was undrafted. Watch me now.
Totally. And he had it his whole career.
Yes, he did.
He had his whole career. He never wavered on that.
He had a boulder on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Not a chip, a boulder.
Yeah.
So with that, Rod Smith's number one. Give me your next 3. Quickly.
I think Shannon Sharpe and DT would be in that mix. And then you get down to McCaffrey. Riley Odoms would be, well, not Riley Odoms, probably. Lionel Taylor's got to be in that mix somewhere along the way. I'm just throwing guys at you now.
Okay, let me throw this out at you.
All right.
To me, Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback to ever put on a Broncos uniform.
Right.
John Elway is the most important player in Denver sports history. He's the most important player and person in the Broncos organization. But if I had a game to win, I'm sorry, I am picking Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning had 2 of his 3 best seasons in Denver. I am bringing this up for a reason.
Yeah, and it's a good one.
Well, no, I'm making the comparison between Elway and Manning for a reason. The best and most important pass catcher in Broncos history, when you put everything into that pot of gumbo, is Rod Smith. Okay? When you look at Shannon Sharpe, the guy is a Hall of Famer.
Yep.
And well deserved. I'm bringing up Shannon Sharpe for this reason, because he didn't play wide receiver.
Right.
So if I'm going to look at wide receivers only, the most talented wide receiver, the best wide receiver in Broncos history was Brandon Marshall. Period. He played just 4 seasons here. And after his rookie season, he caught over 100 passes in 3 consecutive seasons and then was gone. The guy was a flat-out monster on the field. But when I look at Rod and Shannon Sharpe and Brandon, they played angry. All 3 of them. Demaryius was sweet. And Demaryius is right up there with the other 3 guys.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I like where you're going with it, and let's accentuate and extrapolate just a little further. Demaryius Thomas is the first one to tell you. He was the first one to tell you that his career is totally different without Peyton Manning.
Well, I told you that because he told that to me.
Yes, but
he said, this is the quote.
Yeah.
My career would be nothing without Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Exactly what he said to me.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go full bore into that. But when you look at the combination and the time that they had together, the Peyton Manning to Demaryius Thomas combo was, I mean, I don't know, Eric, you've been around here a lot longer than me. It has to be one of the best 3-year combinations, 2-year, 3-year combinations of any quarterback and receiver in Broncos history.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, those guys were throwing the ball up and down the field and making plays all over the field. So
right. Same with Elway. Same
Yep.
with Elway and
Elway
Rod.
and Rod,
Same
right.
with Elway and Shannon. And Brandon Marshall had Jay Cutler.
Yeah, I hear you. I wish Brandon Marshall. That's a guy that I wish I could have covered.
He was a guy who was impossible to tackle,
Mhm.
and you never wanted to be around him when he was having one of his moods. Is the
Yeah,
best. And fortunately, he has taken care of that. He has been public about that. But I heard horror stories about him and now this is all because of the mental illness that he is dealing with.
yeah.
An unbelievable physical specimen as a player who, I mean, we talked about Cam Skattebo wanting to run through people.
Right.
That was Brandon Marshall. Throw him a screen, and you might want to make a business decision and get out of the way.
I mean, all you need to know about Brandon Marshall from a standpoint of he played for 6 or 7 different teams.
Correct.
And by the way, he was a 6-time Pro Bowler.
Yes.
I mean, think about that. A player of that ability, but he could never find roots.
Because of what was going on with him. He was very difficult to be around, especially when he was in one of those moods.
Yeah.
As far as a physical talent, Brandon Marshall could catch everything. He had unbelievable hands, and he would run you over. Demaryius Thomas would run by you.
Yeah.
You throw a screen to Demaryius Thomas, he will take it to the house 50 yards, and somebody might get a hand on him, like just touching him on his shoulder. Brandon Marshall would run through 3 guys, knock them over, embarrass them on television, and then score a touchdown.
He averaged almost 13 yards a catch for his career.
Who did?
Brandon Marshall.
Oh, yeah. He wasn't a speedster. That's the thing. Demaryius Thomas had a great combination of size and speed. Look at what he did in that game against Pittsburgh when he caught that pass from Tebow.
No question.
And no one was going to catch him. If Brandon Marshall would have caught that pass, he would have been forced to break a tackle because he would have been caught. Not a knock on his speed, but he did not have Demaryius' speed.
Brandon Marshall had nearly 1,000 receptions.
Right. That's
for
what I'm saying.
12,351 yards. My goodness.
Yeah, people forget.
Wow.
People forget just how great Brandon Marshall was with the Broncos and how great Elvis Dumervil was with the Broncos.
Yes.
We just tend to just cast those 2 guys aside. Elvis Dumervil, it is a crime and a shame, and I know people who vote. How in the world have you not put Elvis Dumervil in the Broncos Ring of Fame? He has the 2nd most sacks in Broncos history. He will be surpassed by Nick Benito. But the whole Faxgate thing with John Elway,
I hear you.
It's probably going to keep him out of it.
Yeah.
But I think he played like 60-something games for the Broncos and has like 50-something sacks.
Oh, he was an absolute force of nature.
Right.
Absolutely. Right. No question about it.
So,
you know what? I'm looking forward to the reflection, the celebration of that team 10 years ago, the reflection on a friend lost, a guy that was so important and so meaningful to this franchise. It's going to be quite a day. It really is.
Yep. Wanted to show you something, and I probably should have. You have friends, I'm guessing, who have passed away, right?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. With that, do you leave their number in your phone?
Yes.
If you can see it. Still there.
Yeah, there you go. Good for you.
And I'll never take it out.
Yeah. I was looking at Les Shapiro's number the other day.
Yep.
I still have Les on my phone, and you know, I'm obviously a great friend of yours and a very strong acquaintance of mine, but you know, miss him. Miss them.
Me too.
Good.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us all week. Make it the best possible weekend you can.